Welcome back to Wine Para Ti. I am certified sommelier Ryan Taylor, and I am standing in front of Madrid's Catedral de la Almudena. Today, we will be talking about a Spanish wine label and how to properly understand each part. Take a look at this classic Spanish wine label. We clearly see 9 items labeled numbers 1 through 9, but only 6 of these are obligatory. The other 3 are often included, but they're not actually required. The 6 required items are labeled 1 through 6. The quality wine designation, the name of the region or appellation, the actual alcoholic strength by volume, the country of origin, the name of the bottler or producer, and finally, the volume. Now, on still Spanish wine, there are 3 other details that are often included, but not actually required. The first, the vintage year. That's the year of the harvest. The second, the aging classification. And third, the name of the wine. Now, every bottle of Spanish wine will have the name of the producer. In this case, Bodegas Riojanas S.A. We want to know the name of the producer because what if we like the wine? What if we want to buy another one? It's important to know where the wine came from. Second, every bottle must bear the quality designation. In this case, it is Denominación de Origen Calificada. This is essentially a quality insurance scale that says how the grapes must be produced, how the wine must be produced, and it guarantees quality of the region that the region is known for. Now third, what we want to know is where in Spain this wine came from. Each bottle must bear the name of the region, in this case, Rioja. The reason they do that is because from knowing where a wine is from, we can actually have an assumption of what style the wine will be, whether it's sweet, dry, white, red, sparkling, and we also have an idea of what grapes might be in the bottle. Bottles like from California or other parts of the world will probably say the grapes on the front label, and while some Spanish bottles will have that information on the back, what they care more about is where the wine came from. They care more about where it came from to make assumptions and have a stylistic hypothesis rather than knowing exactly what it is. It's part of the magic of Spain and a lot of the EU countries. Fourth, every bottle produced within the European Union must report the country of origin. In this case, we know we're dealing with a bottle from Spain, but it's here listed on the bottom. Now fifth, every bottle produced in Spain and within the European Union must bear the alcohol by volume. That is to say, the lovely percentage number we all love to look at when buying a bottle. This one, for a Spanish wine, is actually on the higher end. So those of you looking for a higher alcohol percentage for your wine, look for one that bears something like 14%, just like this lovely Rioja does. Why else is this important? This actually gives us a big idea of how the grape season was. The higher the alcohol percentage, the higher the alcohol, of course, but also the lower the acidity in the wine. It implies that a lot of sugar was produced during the growing season that they were able to ferment later into more alcohol. Now, the 6th obligatory feature that must be on any Spanish wine label, as well as any European Union wine label, is the size of the bottle. In this case, we're looking at 750 milliliters. Why is this important? Well, because wine bottles come in many different sizes. There's lots that are 375 milliliters, and many that go up and up and up and up and up. So we know this bottle as the standard sized bottle of 750 milliliters, but it could also appear in the measurements of centiliters or liters. The first of 3 details that are often included on wine labels in Spain, but is not actually required, is the vintage. The vintage is the year the grapes were harvested, not the year the wine was made. Sometimes they're the same year, but more often than not, we actually have a harvest and a winemaking process that lasts many years. That's why I know, and with this bottle of wine, the grapes were harvested in 2010, and it doesn't necessarily mean the wine was finished being made in 2010. The second of 3 features that are often on a Spanish wine label, but is not obligatory, is the aging classification. In this case, Gran Reserva. This is my favorite feature of a wine label because it tells us a lot of information that we don't know just by looking at it. I know that this bottle was aged and not legally allowed to be released for 60 months. That's 5 years at the winery before it could hit the market if they wanted to include this label. Why did they want to include it? Because now we also know that this wine spent years being aged in oak often American oak in Rioja, and we have a better idea of some flavor profiles we might find in it. For example, vanilla, which is super common in American oak. We also know that this wine has aged and I might have been able to settle and evolve and become actually more ready for the market than it would be if they released it in the first few months. The third detail that is often included on a wine label but not actually required to be there is the name of the wine, Monte Real. Now a lot of people would assume that this is the producer because it's bigger letters, right? But no, the producer's up here. The reason this is in bigger letters is because Bodegas Riojanas actually produces other wines with other names. Recognizing this is the best way to give a sense of ownership or a sense of identity to a wine. So now you have a better idea of how to properly read a Spanish wine label. While we discussed about 9 things, there's still a lot more to say about them, and I'm happy to do that in a future video. But perhaps now, when you go to the store, the wine shop, or the grocery store, perhaps you'll have a better idea about how to actually read what's written on the wine label, and you can buy a wine based off information and not just how pretty the label is. Thanks for tuning in to Wine Para Ti. We will see you next time.